Hello, and welcome to Ms. Pam Reed's Christian Content, where we are continuing in Abscond by GG Wagner. And in our last video, Lyzee was determined to give the baby up for adoption. I think it was a closed adoption, but she's still through the adoption agency, can keep an eye on what's happening with the baby. And she had an ultrasound and she had mixed emotions. And so there we are. I expressed wonder, like, I haven't read the book. We're reading it together. I did express like, I wonder if she's going to change her mind, but we'll have to find out. Okay, this is entitled Notification. Lyzee picked up her phone, then laid it back down again. Her heart thudded in her chest as she chanted under her breath, "I can do this." Her shaking fingers tapped the screen. "I need to talk to you." Throwing the phone onto the bed, she paced, her top teeth sinking into her bottom lip. This wasn't fair, she thought. Milo wasn't even calling anymore. Why did he need to know that she was pregnant? She had made her decision, and it shouldn't be any of his concern. What did the adoption agency think? That Milo was going to take time to raise a baby? No, she muttered to herself. He's too busy lurking around on the internet, preying on unsuspecting girls. The more she thought about it, this obligation to notify him, the faster she paced. As the message box turned to read, as in R-E-A-D, he read the message, she began rehearsing what she was going to say. Her fingers manipulated a gum wrapper in her hand, folding it in every possible way. "We don't even know each other. That would be a good way to begin the conversation," she thought, picking up her phone. She pressed the top button, checking her volume. Still, no missed calls. "Lyzee, is your suitcase packed yet?" Mark asked, yelling up the steps. "Coming," Lyzee said. Opening her door, she could see him wheeling 2 suitcases across the foyer toward the door. She pushed the hard-cased top closed, securing the zipper. Grabbing her jacket and book from her desk, she lugged the suitcase from the bed. "I'm ready to help," Lyzee said. Gwen packed the cooler full of containers of chopped cantaloupe, grapes, and apples, while Lyzee shoved the cold bottles of water around them. "I think that is good for the cooler. We can keep these pepperoni rolls in the basket with the chips and cookies," Gwen said. Lyzee climbed into the back seat, smiling when she saw her pillow and the fuzzy blanket from the living room folded neatly on the seat beside her. "Next stop, Nashville, Tennessee," Mark said. "Remember, you are traveling with 2 females," Gwen said. "How long is it to Nashville?" Lyzee asked. "From here to there, it's about 9 hours, but we're stopping halfway. We want to check out an investment property with you in Nashville. It makes perfect sense for us to have a place to stay along the way. It's on a lake, so we can rent it out when we're not using it. Definitely a win-win," Mark said. The warmth from the sun and the gentle rocking of the van made Lyzee's eyelids heavy. She must have fallen asleep, as she awakened in a state of confusion when they stopped. She smoothed her hair out of her face, getting her bearings while recalling pieces of the dream she'd been having. Rory had been there. A smile made its way to her face. "We thought this would be a good place to stretch our legs," Gwen said. Lyzee's eyes lit up at the sight of the old-fashioned type diner, the sign boasting giant pancakes. Mark held the door and she followed Gwen inside. The decor was classic 50s style, with a checkerboard tile floor, red and aqua covering pretty much everything else. Blech. Yes, there was a vintage jukebox sitting in the corner, blasting songs she remembered from an old movie she had watched with Rory and Gwen. It took a few seconds before it registered with Gwen, but Lyzee saw the excitement mounting in her eyes. Lyzee, do you remember this? Gwen asked. That's from our favorite scene from You've Got Mail. Lyzee grinned, doing her best mimic Joe Fox. Don't cry, shop girl. Gwen, not missing a beat, added in her best Kathleen Kelly voice. I wanted it to be you so badly. I'm not familiar with the movie, so. Mark rolled his eyes in mock annoyance before he disappeared behind the menu, eliciting a chorus of laughter from Lyzee and Gwen. The waitress approached and Lyzee listened, still eyeing the menu, as Gwen and Mark placed their orders. She scanned the prices, settling on the least expensive item she could find. That should be good enough, she thought, even though the picture on the menu of the ginormous stack of pancakes was making her mouth drool. And a stack of chocolate chip pancakes, please, Mark said. After feasting and back in the car, Lyzee sucked in an exaggerated breath. Her belly was so full. She wished now she had been able to resist the pancakes Mark had piled onto her plate. She was being lulled to sleep faster than before. She awoke after what seemed like minutes, the crick in her neck painful as she stretched with a huge yawn, escaping her and her eyes adjusting to the brightness. It won't be too much longer, Gwen said. Lyzee looked down at her phone, already brooding over Milo. Until she moved in with the Coopers, he was texting constantly. And now that she needed him to respond, crickets. It was just a formality notifying him of the pregnancy, but it needed to be done before the adoption plan could be submitted. She stared out the window blankly until she noticed the crunch of gravel beneath the tires and hazy blue sky peeking through the bare tree branches. The glinting water came into view as Mark turned the car, a rustic state park-like sign proclaiming Walnut Run. Houses were nestled between towering trees on both sides of the road, and Lyzee continued to catch glimpses of water as they drove. She wished they would get there soon, marveling that something only the size of a pacifier caused so much havoc with her bladder. The understated cabin, standing feet from the shoreline, looked welcoming. Lyzee noticed the window boxes filled with evergreens, with a hint of lemon lingering in the air. On the porch, a string of lanterns automatically turned on as she walked past, causing her to jump. Those must be motion activated, Mark said. She could hear the smile in his voice, even without turning. Punching in the code from the slip of paper Gwen handed her, Lyzee pushed open the door. The interior instantly illuminated as she entered, the light reflecting off the shiny white cabinets, backsplash and counters, an abrupt contrast to the bleakness of the exterior. A glow coming from the wall of windows in the living room caught her attention. The sun was setting, the surface of the water collecting the amethyst hues, then scattering them over the great expanse. Entranced, how about that? Entranced by the sight, Lyzee paused, mesmerized. The warmth of a touch on her shoulder caused her body to stiffen. Whipping her head around, she saw Gwen standing next to her. She was studying the view, cotton candy pink reflecting in her eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you, Gwen said. This is something special. Every room, including the bathroom, showcased stunning views of the lake. Lyzee could hear Gwen and Mark talking in the kitchen. It was in the center of the cabin with all of the other rooms on the outskirts. She followed a series of hallways to their voices and thought it very much like a tiny indoor walking track. Mark was reading from a piece of paper he held, and Gwen dangled a key attached to a buoy chain. What's that for? Lyzee asked. A special little something parked at the dock, Mark said. Gwen and Mark followed her to the windows, and they saw a pontoon tethered and bobbing in the water. Excitement bubbled to the surface with a smile Lyzee couldn't contain. This place comes with a boat, too? They darted off to her room and added another layer of warmth. She pulled out the pink fuzzy hood, tugging it over her long-sleeved t-shirt, and gathered her hair up in a ponytail. Now Lyzee understood Gwen's insistence on packing her warmest sweatshirt and all of the extra blankets. Mark and Gwen were already on the boat, familiarizing themselves with the equipment, when Lyzee stepped on. Lyzee squealed as the boat hit a wave, sending her bouncing in her seat. She glanced back at Mark and Gwen, who were also grinning. With the vibration of the throbbing motor, the sound of the wind moaning, and the entrancing water ripples trailing the boat, Lyzee had never felt so alive. She tucked the blanket around her shoulders, holding it down with her chin. A smile erupted. In the dim light, just after the sun sunk behind the mountains, not sure if she had really seen it herself, she blurted, "Did you see that fish jump out of the water?" "Probably chasing its dinner. How about we do the same?" "I'm ready to get out of this cold," Mark said. They gobbled the food Gwen had packed and then settled in for a roaring fire. Lyzee watched the flames flickering, the quiet goading her thoughts. She glanced at her phone, which was nestled under the plate she held. Coughing, almost choking on a bite of pepperoni roll, she realized she had a missed call, a voicemail from Milo. Jumping up, she struggled with an excuse to go to her room. "I'm really tired. Think I'll take a short nap." Hitting the blue phone icon, her heart began racing. Picturing the face that went with the voice made her insides shiver. She had rehearsed this, but her mind went blank when he answered. "I'm pregnant," Lyzee blurted. Okay, and that is the end. So we'll see how Milo takes that. All right, you guys. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.